Spending has skyrocketed while our population has remained relatively steady and our spending has been well in excess of inflation. Pretty broad overview where our money comes from. And again, as you can see, the largest chunk of our money, 39%, comes from the income tax, 19% from the sales tax. Obviously, you can see there's 3% from gambling. That number obviously has been shrinking. And 17% from federal revenue. That money may also be shrinking in the future. Where our money goes. Again, if you look down in the bottom left, you'll see social services, 22% is the largest piece of our spending pie, which when we start to talk about can you spend less money, where do you spend less money, you have to go where you spend the most because that's where the greatest savings are. You can also see education is not far behind at 21%. Just a note that education spending includes our colleges and universities, not just our local education cost-sharing formula that the state gives to our towns and cities for their local education costs. And the last thing I want to point out to you is the repayment of debt at 11%. But what that means is 11 cents of every dollar we spend goes to pay off our bonded indebtedness. And in Connecticut, we have the distinction of having the highest per capita debt of all 50 states in the country. We're looking at a cumulative budget deficit over those 2 years of $2.5 billion. The gas tax, the oil tax, all of that money that was put aside in the Special Transportation Fund, and right now we have an unfunded pension liability that we owe people who've earned their pensions to the tune of $66 billion. We spend about $20 billion a year, yet our liabilities are $66 billion. That's a significant problem that we don't have a handle on. And one of the dirty little secrets is that $66 million is probably closer to 80. We assume a rate of return on our pension funds of 8.25%.
Oh my.
We have the largest per capita debt in the country. We have, by percentage, one of the largest unfunded pension liabilities. Whichever group it is looking at it, when they look at Connecticut as a place to do business, we generally rank somewhere between 43rd and 50th. And that's sadly why we see so many business owners looking at picking up and moving outside the state. Why don't you take a guess at how much it costs us as taxpayers to care for one child per year? Just take a guess.
70,000?
70,000. Anybody else want to guess? $250,000? That's a lot for one kid per year.
Yeah, we have about 300,000.
It's $1 million. No, $1 million per year per child at Riverview Hospital. All of the costs that go involved. All the costs from pension, benefits, health care, contract out to private hospitals and nonprofit hospitals. I'm talking about nonprofit organizations that are private because they're not state employees. And he said, we can do this at our facility for roughly half of that, $450,000, $500,000 per child. Still a lot of money per child. But
the state's transparency website. And if you just Google it, you will see the wages, the benefits, and the total package for each employee that works in the state. A lot of transparency as it relates to this issue. Municipalities live under binding arbitration, collective bargaining agreements. You've crippled the CEOs of the towns, whether they are the mayor, the first selectman, town manager, whatever, and their legislative body, okay, through these binding arbitration laws.